Hey guys, so I meant to film this video yesterday, but I forgot. So we're gonna do a very low key and a horrible thing with probably not great lighting, and I'm wearing no makeup, but I bring to you my July wrap up. I read 8 things in July. Most of them are actually novels. First book I finished for July was Arusha and the End of Time by Rashni Chokshi. This is the first book in the Pandava Quartet, which is the first book published in Rick Riordan's imprint for other mythological series by authors of color that are own voices. This is own voices, and we follow our main character, Aru, whose mother runs the Indian Museum, and she lights this candle and releases this demon called the Sleeper, and essentially has to go find a way to stop it before he ends the world. So a lot of shit goes down. I really enjoyed this. It had a lot of the same feelings as a Rick Riordan novel would. It was very funny, which is something I love, especially in middle grade. But this is really great, and I highly recommend it, especially to people who are fans of Percy Jackson or any of Riordan's series. I highly recommend this. It was really cool also, since my knowledge of mythology kind of really stops at Greek and Roman. I know a little bit about Egyptian and a little bit about Hindu and some other history classes I've taken, but this gives a really kind of more in-depth, digestible introduction to Hindu mythology and the different gods and the way different things work. So I really liked that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I loved Ara. I thought she was hilarious, and I cannot wait to see where this picks up in the next book. But I did give this 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we're getting into the books I read for Retell-a-thon, which was being hosted by a bunch of my friends, and it was, retellings focused, so I was like, heck yes, count me in. The first book I finished for Retell-a-thon was A Wicked Thing by Rhiannon Thomas. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and honestly I was really disappointed with this to begin with. It started off in a really cool place. This isn't necessarily a retelling, this is a continuation of Sleeping Beauty, and so it picks up after she wakes up with the kiss, which is essentially 100 years after Maleficent put the spell on everybody, which in this story the Wicked Witch is called Celestine, and so it takes place after that, and so we have a whole new cast of characters except for Aurora herself, which I thought was really interesting, and I was kind of hesitant at first, but then she seemed pretty cool in the beginning. I was like, maybe this is gonna be kind of like a more feminist thing where she's like not gonna like sit down and take it, because like this new royal family that she's marrying into, since the son woke her up with a kiss, is kind of like trying to put her on the back burner and like make her like stay quiet and not talk about anything, and she's kind of really defiant about it. And there's just this one line in the very beginning that I really liked, and it's like after the prince wakes her up, and it says, "Nothing could break the spell except waiting. Certainly not awkward strangers who said they were princes and did not realize that you were only meant to kiss princesses when they were awake." I thought it was really cool. I was like, maybe this is gonna be kind of cool, more talking on consent and other stuff like that going on now, and maybe she's gonna be pretty badass and feminist. I didn't really get that towards the end. This book has taken kind of a more different twist, and it was kind of interesting what was going on. There is a sequel out called Kingdom of Ashes that my library actually has on audiobook, so I might rent that just to kind of see what happened in the stories. Like, I don't want to say I loved it and I didn't hate it, I'm just kind of neutral on it, but I do want to kind of see like how this wraps up. There was kind of one thing I kind of like really kind of hated with this book, and initially we get the prince, and it's her true love is who was supposed to wake her up, so he's her true love and all this other stuff. Obviously she doesn't know this random dude. She's been sneaking out into the actual village, and she meets this other guy that she's kind of interested in and everything, and I really liked him. And then like it does like this weird like love triangle thing where then she's like into the village dude, but she's also into the prince, and like the prince is a really sweet dude, like don't get me wrong, and then this village guy kind of turns out to be a douche, and I don't know, I was just like, you could like left all of the love part out of this, because I feel like that took away from the story. needless to say, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I think I am going to continue on with the sequel over audiobook, which is how I listened to most of this. Just because I kind of want to know how everything wraps up in the end. But other than that, like, it was just meh. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next, I finished The Last of August by Brittany Cavallaro. This is book 2 in the Sherlock Holmes series. This is a gender bent, like, Sherlock Holmes retelling. And I really, like, as interesting and difficult as a person as Charlotte is, I really love her, and Jimmy Watson is a precious cinnamon roll that needs to be protected at all costs. And so I immediately just kind of like picked up the next book, and also it fit a challenge for Retail-a-thon, so I was like, why not? I did listen to this one on audiobook as well. I definitely liked this one a lot more than the first book, and I'm interested to see where events go in A Case for Jamie, because I know A Case for Jamie takes place like a year after the events of this book, whereas this book only took place like relatively soon after the end of A Study in Charlotte. So I'm interested to see where this series goes. I obviously gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. And the final book I read for Retail-a-thon was Once Upon a Dream by Liz Braswell. This is, I want to say, the 3rd book in her Twisted Tale series, which essentially is taking well-known Disney fairy tales we all know and taking like an evil twist on them. So this one is obviously Sleeping Beauty inspired. There's also a Sleeping Beauty one, Aladdin one, and then a Mulan one just came out. So I read this because it was Sleeping Beauty and it fit a prompt for Retail-a-thon. I was disappointed with this one, which is really sad to say because I was really looking forward to this. This essentially is like, on the back all it says is, what if the Sleeping Beauty never woke up? Essentially it's just dealing with Sleeping Beauty like trapped within this like sleeping dream world and like trying to figure out a way to get out and like realizing that's a dream world and all that stuff. And it's a really, really cool concept, and I was really confused and liked it at the beginning because it's like really twisted from what you would think. But personally, for me, reading this, I don't think the idea was executed very well. Which is really sad to say because I was kind of really excited to get this, but I was also hesitant to get to this because my other Sleeping Beauty retelling kind of went down the drain for me. Again, this was meh. It's just the execution wasn't good enough for me. It could have been a lot better. I also gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Breaking Up is Hard to Do, But You Could Have Done Better by Hilary Campbell. This was a copy I received through NetGalley because I recently downloaded NetGalley and have been approved for rent books, and that was a horrible idea. This is a nonfiction collection of kind of really funny but shitty stories of people's breakups with other people, and it was funny and I liked it. A lot of the things, it was just kind of like, what the fuck, like somebody actually did that to somebody else. I really liked it. I wish it might have been just a little bit longer because, again, I mean, it's really short and I know it was supposed to be short. And also, I did dock some points too because of the format I was reading it on. It didn't fit very well to my Kindle app. Like, the breaks for, like, where different people started was, like, hard to, like, differentiate because it wasn't, like, a set, like, something to break up the stories. Like, some pages it was fine, but other pages it was, like, I was really thrown off because, like, I was reading one story about a girl who broke up with a boyfriend like in middle school, and the next one it's like the people are 30, and I was just like, wait a second, I'm really confused. So I just docked some stars for that, and I wanted some more because it was really funny and I enjoyed it. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read volume 10 of My Hero Academia. This is just so good, and I can't really say much obviously because it's the 10th volume in a series, but like, if you haven't read this, please read this. Shit just went down, and I particularly really love this volume because they're kind of dealing with the after effects of the major event that happened in volume 9 and that story arc. And in this one we actually get to see Midoriya and some of the other characters go undercover in like costumes and stuff, and just seeing the costumes they pick is so fucking hilarious. Todoroki is my babe, and he's like an emo god in this, and it's just, he totally looks like some kid that was so into My Chemical Romance at the height of their career, and it's just so freaking hilarious. I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I finished Puddin' by Julie Murphy. This is the companion novel to Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. This deals with a side character from that story. We follow Millie Michaelchuk in her senior year of high school and kind of applying to a journalism program, as well as befriending an unlikely popular girlfriend. And I love the way like Millie holds herself, and she doesn't let the looks and other opinions of other people like stop her. Like, she feels comfortable in her own body and she does what she wants to do, and she's not going to take no for an answer. And particularly it's something she really has to fight with, wanting to be in journalism and be like a news anchor, and especially since, you know, what America wants is a skinny little pretty blonde woman sitting behind the news desk. And I just really like that. I also liked the touches on friendship and the fact that, you know, being fat isn't necessarily a choice. Some people are just built like that, and no matter how much they exercise or how much they diet, how healthy they eat, they're just not gonna lose the weight. And I think it really shows a good picture of that. But if you really want to hear a really fabulous review about this book, I'm gonna link my friend Michaela's Own Voices review for this book up in the cards and down below, and I highly recommend you go watch it. It made me cry, I'll tell you that, and her insight means 1,000 times more than mine ever does. So, but I would always recommend this. This was a really good book. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. And the final thing I read in July, I keep wanting to say August because it's currently August, but it's July, is Volume 1 of Space Boy by Stephen McCranes. This was the pick for the month for the Panels Book Club, which is a graphic novel comic book club that's being run by Natalie over at Pages and Panels. She wanted to start a book club for people who wanted to get into graphic novels, and so each month, this was the first month we did it, but each month you read a first installment in a series of a graphic novel or comic, and then we discuss it. And there's also video prompts to go with each series. I'll link the Goodreads group down below, as well as the Twitter if you want to join. I would highly recommend. It's really cool, especially if you want to get into more graphic novels and stuff like that. I like this. It's about a girl who moves from her small little mining colony out in deep space to Earth, and is just kind of adjusting to the Earth because a lot has changed from when she was living in the space colony, because it takes 30 years to get to Earth, and so they were frozen for the 30 years, and so a lot has changed, and it's just like, you know, being a teenager and trying to like figure out what's going on and adjusting to a new school and a new life, and especially when her friends at home are like, you know, 30 years older than when she left. I liked it. It just kind of was missing something for me, and there's this like a mystery centered around this other boy that you kind of have assumed is also from somewhere in space. The guy just kind of shows up, and you're not really introduced to him, but it leaves our main character kind of wondering who he is, and I think she kind of has like a connection with him because she said he doesn't have a flavor, which she's never come across a person that's never had a flavor. So again, this is just like, you know, it's the first book, it's setting everything up, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but I do plan on continuing with the series and see if I enjoy it more. Alright, so that is it for my July wrap up. Again, I am sorry for the low quality video and the low quality me. Please let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. I would love to discuss with you in the comments. And that's gonna be it, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I promise I am normally better prepared, and my videos are better than the quality you're getting right now. I just need to film it because it's supposed to go up on Monday. So until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!